No jeans, no internet and no eating out. That is the Aligarh Muslim University's new diktat for their hostel girls. The new diktat even says that 500 rupees will be charged as a fine for any violation of the new rules. Anand Zanani, my colleague, now joins us for more on the story. Anand, tell us more about this diktat, and is it for the entire campus or is it restricted just to the hostel areas?
Well, this new advisory, this is what the AMU is calling it. They say it's not a diktat, it's not a rule that's binding on children or girl students, but they say that they have to wear decent looking dresses and preferably wear salwar kameez and dupatta. So this is an advisory that has been given to them to not wear jeans and t-shirts on campus and inside the hostels. This is only for one of the 6 halls that are there. There are around 6 halls in AMU. One of them is Abdullah Hall, which has 6 girls' hostels in them. And this is something that has been pasted on the notice board of these 6 hostels that fall within the Abdullah Hall. Now, I just spoke with the public relations officer of AMU, Mr. Rahat Abrar, and he said that this is something which is not binding on anybody and nobody would be fined essentially, for violating these rules that have been put in place. They are not rules, they are just advisories. And they say that this happens every year, and since the new session is going to begin after Eid, so which is why this notice has been put on board over there. And they, however, are saying that this is not something which is regressive, but it is something which is for the betterment of the girls themselves, because crime in and around the campus is on the rise, and which is why these kind of measures have been suggested by the the provost, Dr. Parveen, who is somebody who has actually issued this particular notice. Now, earlier also AMU had generated some amount of news after the Vice Chancellor asked students to visit him wearing sherwanis. Now, they say that that is the official dress code of AMU for various official functions, and if you're meeting the Vice Chancellor in an official capacity, then you have to wear that particular dress. So these are the kind of advisories that have been common to AMU, but the AMU authorities clarifying, saying that this is not something that the girls need to necessarily follow, and this is something which they feel is for the betterment of the girls.
Also, Anant, reports coming in that the girls will not be allowed into the central library of the AMU. How are students responding to that? Because although this may not be called a diktat, separating rules out for girls versus boys, that would certainly be seen as discriminatory.
Well, absolutely, there is no doubt about that, but perhaps those reactions will come in once the students return to the campus and start attending classes. This is essentially for the undergraduate program, Ketki, and this is, according to authorities, not been done for the first time. These are advisories, and they say that, if it had been implemented last year, why cannot be implemented this year as well? So that is the response that's coming in from AMU, and obviously, this is something that is going to be seen as discriminatory, perhaps biased towards girls, because no such advisory has been issued for boys as to how much cell phone usage is allowed and whether they can actually wear some sort of a dress code or not.
Anand,
so that is something that has not been prescribed.
Anand, stay with us as we also go across to Ayesha Munira, who is a faculty member at the English department. Ma'am, how do you view this advisory? Many are viewing it as discriminatory.
This is a discriminatory against the girls.
But so far as dress code is concerned, I know that the dress code is actually about traditional dressing. It's not only for the girls, but also for the boys. The AMU Vice Chancellor, before vacation started, had issued a notice to all the boys, to all the students of AMU, that they have to dress up in a particular manner, in a traditional manner, if they have to see him. So this is, so far as I know, this is actually uniformly applied to both boys as well as girls. So far as girls going to the university library, Maulana Azad Library, that is the central library of the university, is concerned, that I know that they have always been actually not allowed to go to visit the library because they are confined. They have to stay within their halls. On Sundays only they are allowed to go out. So
Ma'am,
they have never had
wouldn't this be
access to
viewed
the
as
life.
discriminatory?
Yeah, this is actually discriminatory. And since they have never had the freedom to go out, people fear, AMU community fears that if they're allowed to go out, perhaps that may lead to some kind of anarchy or some major problems, and boys may be distracted, etc. These apprehensions are there. But the point is that the boys actually need to be educated and trained to know how to behave in company of girls. If they're never allowed to mix up with girls, they will never know how to behave in a mixed gathering.
Right,
That's a
Aisha
very
Munira, thank
important
you
thing.
so much. Thank you so much for sharing your views with us. We also have Chandni B, faculty member from the History Department of the Aligarh Muslim University. Ma'am, your views on this advisory? It's being called an advisory, it's not being called a diktat, but when you put a fine in place, it automatically means that this is a rule that the administration expects needs to be followed.
Yes, this is a rule that the administration is expecting them to follow. What I am asking is why? What is the new circumstance that has developed for them to implement such a rule on the students? If they are going to say that there are men servants in the hostel where the ladies are kept, and it is for them they want them to dress up like this, I tell them, why do you keep men servants there? Remove them and replace with women servants there. And it is a home. Hostel is a home. And even in home, if you are going to restrict them that they had to wear like this and they had to behave like this, where will they be? How will they feel? Hostel is a home. How will they feel homely there? Just for the cause of few men servants, if you are going to implement a rule on them, this is not fair. And what is a special circumstance that has necessitated you to put such a rule? This should be explained. What was the from where? Is it a sort of Talibanism that you're trying to bring out here?
Right. Ma'am, also, are you likely to take this up with the Vice Chancellor?
Pardon, I couldn't get you.
Ma'am, are you also planning to take this up with the Vice Chancellor?
We should know whether this is because of the Vice Chancellor's views that the Provost is trying to implement. If that is the case, why the other Provosts of the other halls are not implementing, and it is only with Abdullah? This is also a question. First, we want to know whether this is because of Vice Chancellor. Then we will ask Vice Chancellor if it is so. We will be questioning Vice Chancellor.